Good morning, everyone. So I'll just start my presentation now. So next. In 2009, McGee introduced cities as mega-urban regions with 3 zones, the core city, periurban, and Dasakota, with the latter two accounting for 75% of urban population growth in Southeast Asia for the next 3 decades. Reflecting on unsustainable urbanization processes, this paper explores how urban planners can design with local ecologies through studying urban fringes with adoption of ecotourism. Next. Adopting Lefebvre and Brenner's perspective of planetary urbanization, the world can be rethought as cities of various sizes connected by non-cities. Utilizing this lens, the project looks at the Jakarta metropolitan area, projected as the most populous city in the world by 2030. Next. Perceiving the core city at the regional scale, Lombok sits at the edge of Jakarta, with Mataram as the capital city of West Nusa Tenggara province. In recent years, Lombok has received traction as a travel destination due to lower tourist traffic but similar coastal charm to that of Bali. Next. Looking at tourist maps of Lombok, villages with tourism-related developments were mapped. The orange shade indicates villages with existing tourism activities, while the yellow shade indicates growing tourism-related developments. Overlaying existing tourism areas with the urban fringe, those with tourism initiatives are identified. Next. With tourist activities mainly at the coast and Mount Rinjani, the Sandwich Ring is less subjugating to future development. The study area is chosen to push for an alternative urbanization path from within. The project is situated in Ponjeruk village due to their commitment to preserving indigenous landscapes and responsible tourism developments. Next. How can alternative futures be designed through rethinking established planning practices? This project situates the Dasakota as an ecology of human and non-human, investigating the everyday as production and non-production of societies. It proposes design practice as a process informed by local knowledge. Next. To understand ecotourism operations in Ponjeruk, a group of researchers and I worked with the local organization. 2 maps were prepared. The first map shows existing and new tourism attractions, serving as replacement for the older map, while allowing local representatives to communicate ideas for investment proposals. Next. The second is a series of journey maps. It serves as brochures for existing and future tours, while allowing locals to visualize their involvement within tourism developments. Through the process, we gain insights into local ecotourism plans and their challenges. For instance, there were talks of ATV establishments. Next. Looking at Ponjeruk through its ecology practices is done through observing everyday practices. Fieldwork was arranged using photos as record, writing and drawing as storytelling, presenting Ponjeruk through its worlds of everyday practices that is situated and experienced, namely the fields, market, and tourism. Next. Connecting these everyday practices as part of ecology practices with human and non-human agency, 2 important words are narrated through drawings, borrowing Aituati's soil model, narrating the monsoon season in fields and daily operations in the market. Practices are then linked to greater processes, human and non-human. Next. Utilizing the fieldwork anecdotes, photos, and sketches, Ponjeruk is remapped with situated practices through pins and strings. The ecology map highlights human and non-human everyday practices that are lived and experienced. While ecotourism remains an important part of the future landscape, the local people and existing landscape are important actors. Next. Urbanization through ecology practices is initiated by lived experiences and adapting everyday practices to them. Thus, the study focuses on 3 sides of practices and task intervention. Proposals are tied together through linking and adapting practices in the process of care, repair, and maintenance with embodied landscapes, practices, and materials. Next. The first site proposed is the backyard, where locals engage in practices such as cooking and recreation. It usually comes with a home garden where plants are cultivated. While endemic plants used to be common, it has become less so with economic viability of other plants. At the same time, village roads and water channels are littered with inorganic waste due to limited waste management. Next. Endemic plants are proposed to be reintroduced into households. Households share a space for cooking and other activities while providing opportunities for new practices, such as a library or a collaborative business. The backyard can be reimagined for backyard tourism, where tourists contribute to the care of endemic plants and the repair of the environment with cleanup activities. The second site proposed is the market, where locals socialize and procure daily necessities. The market is enclosed from the adjacent road by informally built concrete walls. Inside, store owners utilize lightweight construction of metal, bamboo, and plastics. While water resistant, it wears down over time and results in a roof of different materials and weathering condition. Elevated floors proposed respond to ponding issues during wet seasons. With sloping roofs, rainwater is directed to water channels, then to a market pond. With concrete walls removed, the market can be used by night hawkers. Adapting the practice of home gardens, garden alleys allow for a cultivation of plants, maturing to become shade and shelter over time. With care, repair, and maintenance of the existing landscape, ecotourism can be reintegrated into the ecology. Responding to the newly relocated organic farm, ecotourism emphasizes old traditions and practices. Rethinking the farm as a park, the ground-out initiative can be expanded with the local community and formal agencies such as the government. Practices of cooking, cultivation, and construction are introduced, where tourists explore Bonjeruk through caring for it. For instance, they can support local businesses, tour the park with endemic trees, and make local dishes with forage resources. Eventually, its formalization presents opportunities for employment while allowing cultural plants to receive care and maintenance. In the previous slides, I have discussed how planners may engage locals in the decision-making process. Firstly, the designer plays the role of a consultant, giving design agents tangible output to the locals while gaining insights. Secondly, proposals are presented as a deconstructed process executed in parts that is incremental and dependent on local input. This paper presents three key ideas. Firstly, it has introduced unseen agencies of change into formalized ways of looking at urbanization. Secondly, it has designed a methodology for urbanization through ecology, mediating and future practices. Finally, it shows an approach to design and planning that could be adapted to different scales of urbanization processes. Thank you.
Thank you, Tongwei. It was a very quick and efficient presentation, but I read through your paperwork and it's really good one. So I'm really interested on your project because I'm doing the same thing in Bali also. But I have a question. Why Lombok? What make you interest to research about this village? Okay. That's the first one. And then you can answer directly, and then I will give you the other one. Okay. Yeah.
So actually, the project started as a collaborative map making with the locals, which I engaged with my tutor, Prof. Victoria, and also one of our studio mates. Yeah, so it was three of us, and that was where it started. But I think that was before my thesis. So when I started my thesis, I decided to continue with the map making project because as an island is next to Bali, which is a global travel destination. But what is often overlooked is Lombok, which is right beside it, but there's also a trend of increasing tourists going to Lombok. And there's this trend of tourism development that is increasing in a similar fashion that is happening in Bali. And I thought that it would be meaningful that at this point, before it has become proliferated, that there are chances for ecotourism changes that can be effective into making actual change on the landscape. Yeah. Okay,
thank you. And then I want to make a small correction because I already review your letter and some correction. There's a small words. You make the Bonjeruk organic, right? And then you mentioned that Bonjor. So I thought it was Banjar from Balinese community, and then I searched and Google, it's actually, oh, that's Bonjeruk organic. So please revise in your paper, make it, not short one because nobody knows what is Bonjor. I think it's what kind of language. Okay. So if you put Bonjeruk organic first and then you will make it Bonjor, that will make sense. So everybody will understand that that's the village organic name. I think that's all because the paper is already perfect and very nice. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much.
Yeah, Tang Wei. It's my pleasure to discuss your paper. I have read your paper and it is interesting because you have a unique way in writing. It's kind of narration, and several maps are presented, but because they are too small, I cannot clearly understand that you have drawn. Is it possible if the map or your planning can be diagrammatic? You put in a diagram, so it can explain the map. Because I see that it is interesting to integrate the ecotourism and daily activities of the community, daily activities, and this is the map of what is it? Tourist destination, and also the daily life ecology practices, and how the connection between the existing and future attraction and journey map with the map of ecology practice, because I think it is really integrated, but in this paper it seems different discussion.
It's the same with my wonder, because about the ecological practice you mentioned in different space, markets and the backyard. So it's not easy to understand about the link between them, right?
Yes.
Okay.
It's better if you make a diagram of the connection.
Yeah, the connection also a little bit explain about what is ecological practice in different spaces. What you mentioned in 3 villages.
Okay, thank you for your comments. I will try to make a diagram for it. Yeah, thank you.
Is there any comments from the audience for the presenter?
I can just comment.
Yes, please, Professor KARDINAL.
I didn't read the paper, but I would like to. I will now read it. It looks really fascinating. And I think for me what is maybe, again, because I didn't read the paper, but these kind of 20 folding, I understand it's 20 folding maps, this kind of accordion. Can you, so I understand it's in a way use the drawing itself as a way to build knowledge and to communicate, but the ultimate goal of these 20 maps, could you just clarify what that is? Because I find it very fascinating, but what do you do? Like, these maps were made in a process of discussion and discovery through field work, and then you make these maps and they're meant to enhance the ecotourism, or what's the purpose of the beautiful maps?
Okay. Sorry,
can you go back to the folding maps?
Okay. So I think the starting point was that exploring, trying to tackle ecology practices is a very, I think, not conventional way of approaching architecture, at least from how I was taught. So it started off as fieldwork. So when I went there for fieldwork, there was a lot of things that you see, that you write down, and there's a lot of photos that you take. And there was a lot of all of these informations that I don't know how to organize, because I was trying not just to organize the fieldwork, but also trying to use it as a way of designing. Yeah, so what I did was, there was a lot of the pictures that we took, and then a lot of these anecdotes, they were actually from talking with the local guys, and a lot of my own observation, and they kind of have a hidden agenda, which is trying to understand how urbanization is affecting in peri-urban areas. So these maps were actually all of these accordions that you were seeing. I wanted to frame it as a narrative. So it's a narrative of the 3 different sites, or the 3 key places that I decided to focus on my design on eventually. And what were the things that I observed from there? So for example, when we were walking through the fields, that we saw ladies that were cooking in the backyard, and they were like actual, they cooked together with their neighbors, and there was this blurred boundary between their different homes. Yeah, so I was trying to describe what was happening there as if for a person who has not been to Bonjero, they can understand what is actually happening there. And I tried to draw these different small drawings, which is what I think I was explaining as landscape or materials or leaf practices. So I was trying to draw these practices together so that it's easier for a user who has never been there to understand. So as this accordion goes, it kind of tells the story of this place, and it like how if you were actually there. So as if it was a storybook of it, if you went to Bonjero, what will you experience, and what are the key everyday practices that you would see? Yeah, so that was my way of trying to communicate that. Yeah.
Hi, good morning, everyone. My name is Fan Lei Helen. I'm from National University of Singapore, and my research studies about the technological and cultural transformation in the vernacular agrarian settlement of Linpan. My study site Chengdu is a rapidly developing metropolitan in West China and an important agricultural region located at upstream of Yangtze River watershed. As a city with continuous history of 3,000 years, the formation and resilience of Chengdu leverage on the management of the dense waterway networks of the Minjiang River, as you can see in the map there. With the establishment of regional water infrastructure of Dujiangyan irrigation system, these waterways and irrigation canals has been co-managed by agrarian households distributed in Chengdu Plain. This leads to the formation of the Linpan settlement, characterized as dispersed dwelling units interspaced with agricultural fields. The 5-level irrigation canals of Dujiangyan are operated and maintained through cross-cutting sources of authority and autonomy among government officials, social organizations, and individual farmers, with close information feedback system and balanced power relations in negotiating for water allocation. There are also different materiality, ecology, and water control mechanisms for canals at different levels. The villagers use very diverse materials of wood board, stones, sandbag, and even mud for temporary weir construction. And local farmers coordinate with each other on the canal management and water supply according to individual planting plans and water usage needs. I witnessed on site how these farmers were collaborating with Farmer A, as you can see at the front, building this temporary mud dike to make sure the water is high enough so that it can overflow to Farmer B and C's paddy field plots. It's a highly interconnected social cultural process in managing resources and technology co-creation. Linpan dwellings are well integrated with its agricultural hinterland, not just only with irrigation, but in vegetation establishment with high heterogeneity of both agricultural and ecological species, integrating different seasonal cycles of different species, catering for diverse production and recreational needs of the farmers. However, this interconnected technological and cultural system of Dujiangyan Linpan settlement is now rapidly reconfiguring in a regional scale under China's major rural and agrarian policy transformation since year 2018, with national land and spatial planning, high standard agricultural developments, and rural revitalization. The national planning structured Chengdu Plain region into 3 functions of agriculture, village and urban developments, and ecological protection. To understand how the conversions are happening on the ground, I conducted fieldwork documentation of 9 agrarian villages in Chengdu, integrated with documentary and local event and activities analysis. Extensive regional transformation of high standard agricultural land, as shown in the map in the right here, formulates standardization in agricultural infrastructure and production process, and high-tech operations through automation and data collection, especially in crop conditions and environmental quality monitoring. With digital platforms, the GIS polygons accurately demarcate the protected agricultural land area, even to the tiniest spot in front of a farmer's house. And the digital twin platform on the right is a more real-time management of Dujiangyan irrigation canals. We can see in the orange part here, the Linpan cluster locations are still retained here. But the orange agricultural area around the Linpan are now under strict control of cultivation of only approved crops. And around 80% of such area is operated by agricultural companies. Therefore, Linpan settlers are progressively disconnected from the ecological agricultural hinterlands. So some Linpan is empty and declining, and some are only retaining very small plots for subsistence planting. From here, I start to demonstrate the Linpan transition type A, where the villagers still stay in, and the majority plots around them are transferred to companies, but the villagers still utilize small plots, edge area, and leftover spaces for their own cultivation. Another policy concurrently implemented in this process is China's rural revitalization, when rural needs to be different from urban, and rural is constructed to be a cultural landscape that is vernacular, localized, pastoral, and ecological. The thriving agrarian and cultural industry in this context attracting young people back to rural. In the numerous public events I attended, I encountered emerging large groups of young generations bringing their interests, values, and strategies to create new industries and opportunities in rural. Chengdu also now have 35,000 certified agricultural professional managers. 1/3 of them are young graduates with tertiary education, as you can see in some of the photo there. These young professions start to plug into the old village structure and collaborate with local villagers in different systems and connect them to new resources of technology, markets, and ideas. Meanwhile, they still work with the village collective, village production cooperative, which are historical legacy of China's rural organization. In order to cater for the new villagers market, there is major external production of different thematic Linpan for cultural, recreational, and educational functions. I conceptualize it as external cultural value. Meanwhile, we can also observe the village boundary. Village is still the fundamental unit of resource education and profit distribution internally for local villagers. Demonstrated here is Linpan transition condition B, when it totally lost its agricultural production function and evolved into non-agrarian usage of cafe, bookstores, restaurants, company studios. There are major changes in vegetation usage into more ornamental plant selections. I also start to observe these increasing layers of social cultural dynamisms in Linpan sites. You can see the two major social groups. Some are the people who permanently living on the land and depending on it for livelihood. Some are new villagers moving in or temporary tourists who just come and go. But their values are strongly defining the spatial transformation. In the end, as some conclusive reflections, this paper started by identifying the historical formation of Dujiangyan irrigation and Linpan as a co-evolutionary process of technological water infrastructure governance with local social cultural attributes, which is also a main factor contributing to the resilience of Chengdu Plain. But my research also hoped to further question how the reconfiguration in technology and culture is triggering multiple layers of changes in terms of rural economics, agricultural operation, land policy, social material process, and landscape spatial outcomes. Linpan is no longer a cohesive settlement pattern, but is gaining unique identity and new functions. With the incoming younger generations, Linpan now embodies new values and imaginations. I therefore argues for new perspective and narratives in understanding the resilience in this evolving agrarian settlement. That concludes my presentation.
Thank you, Lei Fan. So I'd like to invite Professor Kelly Shannon to give them comments for the Lei Fan.
I have it here. So thank you very much for the paper and the presentation. I think it's really nice to see the high quality images as well that add to, I think, a really excellent paper. So for me, it's quite fascinating. I think, well, I had a few comments. So for me, what of course becomes really interesting is how you kind of unravel the logic of the older low-tech system, where there was also a lot of social respect and kind of dealing with each other, and how it's disrupted or ruptured, as Vittorio would tell us, with the kind of food security on the one hand, this high, what do you call it, high standard agricultural land, and rural revitalization. So for me, it's really interesting to understand how I think what you've done well is link the changes of the agricultural irrigation system to the kind of social cultural processes. And particularly now talking, I was intrigued when you talk about how the new generation are the new indigenous inhabitants. For me, I wonder if you go a little bit deeper than that and start to talk about how over time you have farmers working in this kind of low-tech way and a cooperative way of water management, and how that evolves. And yeah, because you even said now it's kind of being used as these young entrepreneurs and very much part of social media. Yeah. And I'm not so sure I would, well, I think using the word the new indigenous, I'm not so sure I think you can be more precise in talking about what is indigenous. I think indigenous is changing. So for me, I do agree that indigenous is not old, but it's constantly evolving. But I think how the indigenous is challenged by new migrants, a younger generation of maybe not necessarily the same farming heritage, and how you can talk. I think you can just develop the idea of the indigenous as a constantly changing, and you can go deeper in that. So that would be for me one thing. The other thing I think you can go a little bit more in depth is understanding this notion that the older system of dispersed settlements linked by a water system, they were on the one hand somehow very, very heterogeneous, as you say, and had high local autonomy, and how the planning system is forcing more homogeneity and more monocultural systems, and that maybe I think what's interesting, if we think about even the word heterarchy, I don't know if you, so instead of hierarchy, there's a word called heterarchy. Yeah. So heterarchy is really interesting, I think, as a concept. It comes from neuroscience, but it's used also a lot by anthropologists. And it's where you understand that there's moving relationships of, so the game rock, paper, scissors, no? You know, rock, paper, yeah? Like there's no one thing that wins. It's always about, it's relational. So the notion of heterarchy is that there's changing relationships, yes. And that are, so to me, I think if you look into this word a little bit and see how particularly anthropologists looking in Latin America have investigated this, I think it could help you. And then I would also suggest maybe a few things to keep building further, and I can give you exact titles later, but I think looking at the work of James Scott, you probably know, I think would be really interesting if you're doing this in the PhD. Yeah. Also the work of Kongjian Yu and Dihua Li. So Dihua and Kongjian have early papers, so from like 25 years ago, they also looked at different settlement systems in relationship to the agricultural systems. And Kongjian's early book also, The Art of Survival. Maybe you know that book. It's a very, very nice book. So he talks about the kind of logic of the farmer in relation to settlement. And then also I was thinking the author Dennis Cosgrove, who's written very interestingly about kind of the notion of social construction of culture. It might be a nice thing to tie into your story. So for me, it's really fascinating. I understand that this is part of a PhD project. So I think it's really fascinating. The part I wonder, and it's just, I think we're easily fall into kind of keywords of the moment. For me, some of the keywords of the moment are questionable, like placemaking. I don't know. I mean, I wonder if you can be more critical of some of these words, and like identity creation. So you say how it's becoming an asset for this kind of thing, but I wonder if you can. I would encourage you to be a little more critical and not just take it at face value. So, but for me, it's a really wonderful paper, and it would be nice to read more as you keep going. So it's not so many questions, maybe, but anyways, if you have some comments to respond.
Thank you so much for your very comprehensive feedbacks. Yeah, I think I'm in the middle of all my fieldworks and also the kind of narrative establishment. And every time I go back for the fieldwork, my narrative change. It's like everything is evolving so quickly. And as you mentioned about the, I think I need to think more carefully about the terms I use in terms of the indigenous people. Because I think at that moment I want to create a kind of more renewed perspective that the farmers or peasants are not what we think they are. But these young people, they come in, I think they with a heart, they want to connect, they want to adapt. So they, in a very kind of a ground-up way and community-based way. But because of my methodology limitation, I'm not able to do like very in-depth interviews with them, so I can get materials from media. But I think it's certainly a very kind of important phenomenon for me to explore more of how this kind of social level, like how they are creating multiple layers of that kind of social dialogues is kind of shaping the spatial outcomes, shaping the kind of the rural system. Because I understand it's like for the rural development, I think China has this historical legacy. It's like rural is a very, very political place, that all the land policies or the kind of social structuring is leveraging on that kind of historical resource distribution system. So they are kind of, they are trying to renew the land policy consistent to enable these cooperative and collectives to kind of be more flexible to integrate the new thinkings and new opportunities. But there's a lot of like the pathway dependency and also the frictions happening like in all these major layers. So they, I might rethink like what is indigenous. It might be a very kind of a very migrant society, like in now the rural as people migrating back. So it's a kind of being a new process of culture creation. And in terms of the technology aspect, like although I think it's a general phenomenon that the people now kind of think that the big data and the smart technology is the kind of the best hope for helping us solve every problem. But I think as they are creating this digital twin for the Dujiangyan irrigation system, they are arguing that we can have more real-time and more accurate response. So we do machine learning so that we know how to best distribute the water. But I start to realize when they are establishing this digital platform, they need to reconstruct all the materiality. So they need to concretize all the canals so that the training is accurate. But we could always see that the natures are coming back into the canals, and we still need communities. So actually, the smallholders, they are doing all these kind of jobs that I think the smallholders operation, and they are taking care of all the maintenance. Is kind of being a kind of alternative, like mitigation to some technology frauds. It's like, so I think at the end of, as I was reflecting on the comments from the reviewers, I think maybe I will hope to propose a more kind of more integrated system. We can integrate high tech, we can integrate big data, but the legacies for the local practice, what is in the environmental-based way of managing, cultural managing production is kind of a alternative choice that need to be integrated. And and also like what James Scott's arguments of how all this modernized way of like managing states and managing production and security, is kind of part of the whole story as well. Yeah, thank you so much.
Okay, thank you, Linpan. And we'd like to invite Dr. Trần Mai Anh, maybe have some comments.
Yes, it's very inspiring paper. I totally agree with Professor Kelly for which you already bring a very comprehensive and very excellent paper. For me, this paper is having the very innovative conceptual framework that interconnected Brazilian, and it is also integrated with both timely and visionary. I mean, to see how the progress of from the old times and till now, and visualize how the progress, and especially you would like to conserve and preserve the agriculture, but it's not only the preserved, the right, but the progress. It's really a progressing, and I could see the timing, the timely, and it is one of the best that I love to see in this one. And this concept actually in the current Brazilian theory beyond the ecology and engineering into the social conscious and hybrid domain. Yeah, you mean. And the second point is about the multi-scholar methodologies. So it is not only for you look at the engineering, I mean the old type and the new way of progressing of the engineering integration, but also you look at the policy, how's the change, that maybe lead to such kind of things. So I think this is one of another triangle point. And the other one is about the entomographic fieldwork that you go and to see and witness with one of the peasants in the site. So I think it, as Kelly already encouraged you to go deeper into the site, so it would create a really like a good triangle of the methodologies to look at. And the third point is about the cultural landscape recognitions. For me, it is, how to say, I wish that my student could be here as well. Because in Vietnamese case, I think the same thing will happen in the futures, and especially in the very diverse city from the mountainous areas into the Mekong Delta River. So a lot of change, and especially with the urbanizations. But now in Vietnam, everything going also very, very fast. And things like the new young generation also very talented and energetics. But on the other hand, have some pressure from the economics also make a kind of threatened such kind of indigenous. So I think with the way that we are doing, and especially for your research, can reveal one of the best example that people can learn from. So it's also good practices and lesson to China and also to Vietnamese villages. So for me, I'm very much interested in your paper in that sense. And the point to maybe emphasize for clarification. So I also agree that about the new indigenous. I also don't know what to tell, but it's really about the timing and to find something very special that we could learn. But to find the concept, but maybe it wouldn't be the finding.
Agree.
And the second one is about the power relation between actors, from time to time. So what is the power in each level, and the power between the communities and inside the communities that engaging to the system. And the third point is, I think, about the typological analysis on Linpan, that you can be more like on visualizing some of the map or even some of the system that we could understand well. But today, through your presentation, I could have a very well image and easier, much easier than in the paper itself. So thank you very much.
Thank you for the moment. I'm representative of my team. My name is Nigusi Ayu, DIAH AMBARWATI KARDINAL. My title paper is Karangbengang as Manifestation of Trihita Karana. So what is Karangbengang? Karangbengang is traditional green belt in Balinese spatial planning. So the existence of Karangbengang make the clear area which part is built and which part is unbuilt area in the settlement. So what the difference between Karangbengang and greenbelt? Karangbengang and greenbelt have similarity about their function for the regional buffer, but the difference is Karangbengang have the spiritual aspect that we cannot find in greenbelt. So but now, not many people understand the noble values contained in concept of Karangbengang. The lack of understanding from the Balinese people threaten the existence of the Karangbengang itself. So, hope this study will be help better understand the Hita Karana. And also, the concept of Trihita Karana come from the balance between human as Buana Alit and the Buana Agung, the universe. So, in the level of housing, the soul is Parahyangan, the energy is Pawongan, the body is the Palemahan itself. So from the two previous research, there was about from Karma and Wijaya did not discuss about the Hita Karana aspect in the Karangbengang, and other writing just discuss about the terminology of the Karangbengang, like in Paturisi, Suyoga, and Swanenri. But it's only the term, not the object of Karangbengang as the main topics. So this research can contribute about the Karangbengang itself. And then the theoretical contribution, we hope that it's open new perspective about how religious, ecological, and social harmony are specially manifest in traditional Balinese village. And also for the practical contribution, the mind it serves a reference for policymakers, planners, and community leaders. So the research objectives is analyze the Karangbengang role in manifesting Trihita Karana value, focus on three villages, Tegalalang, Keliki, and Taro village, by explore traits and preservation strategies by qualitative descriptive approach. So the pictures show about the deep interview and also using the GIS also to mapping the area of the Karangbengang. So why the Tegalalang? I choose because Tegalalang district is included in Ulapan, Ubud Tegalalang Payangan, which is an important part of the National Tourism Strategic Area or KSPN, and also Tegalalang village is the main center located in the main Tegalalang. So what the Karangbengang settlement is structure of the settlement. So you will saw this part, it is Karangbengang, this is the settlement. So it can be, imagine the comparison area between the settlement itself and the Karangbengang area. The proportion is bigger, the green area. So the settlement axis is north and south. So if you enter the settlement, you will find the Karangbengang first and then you find the gate. The name is Pemangkalan. So it's the border and that is the, like a sign. You enter the settlement before the Karangbengang. So the example of Ket and Taro village, so the Parahyangan aspect we found in Karangbengang, it's always connecting with the temple and ritual, but not only temple related with the Subak, but also another temple like in Ket, this name is another temple like Pura Pekarangan. For the Pawangan aspect, it related with the community itself by interaction through Subak and also have a cultural and spiritual knowledge transmission, social value of farming and ritual. So not only the people, but its community itself. And then for the Trihita Karana for Palemahan aspect, Palemahan, the area of Karangbengang have ecological function for preserve water and soil biodiversity, and by cultural belief in sacred natural features, we keep the area as the catchment area for our springs. Yeah, some sample on happens in Taro Kaja, it have like combination with the tourism. So the comparison Karangbengang in Taro Kliki Tegalang village, I can say that as a physical aspect, so Taro village can be like still have a complete Karangbengang, but for spiritual, they also the ritual are still carried out, but because there are changes of the land use, so it's like in Tegalalang, it's more now it's like a symbolism. So what challenge facing by Karangbengang? First, urbanization, tourism, and population pressure. It's shown in the picture on what happened in Karangbengang in Tegalalang. It's between the Tegalalang, customary village, and Sapat. So in the Taro, it's more slow pressure because for almost 2005 until 2024, it changed only 0.2 hectare. It happens in Karangbengang by a transfer from the green area into the housing because they still have a preserve for the population. But the rapid transformation now, it's happened in Kaliki because on almost like 10 or 15 years, it's changed 2.5 land use from the green area become the tourism area and housing. It's really, the speed is fast. Then if we compare to Tegalalang village, which already exists as a handicraft, famous handicraft in Indonesia, in the world, not only in Indonesia. It happened, start in 1990, but the speed is still like from 2005 until 2023, is 1.5 hectare the change. But yeah, it's also a good case why by how the infrastructure available by government is also push the transformation. Like this happened between the conflicts from awik-awik and formal zoning. So in Bangkyang Sidam, which part is Karangbengang, it changed into tourism by the government. And also, although the government provide a regulation, but because it's lack of the control from the government, yeah, it changed. So we hope that by sustaining Karangbengang, it's not only about green space preservation, it's about protecting cosmology, memory, and collective identity in the Balinese cultural landscape. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, but for the research, sorry, maybe for the next research, because it only happens, my study only in Tegalalang, I hope the other research can be find another what the terminology of Karangbengang and also the problem in the another area. So it will be a good research. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Nidia.
Ibu Diah AMBARWATI Kardinal.
Yes.
Yeah, I think your paper is interesting about the Karangbengang.
Yes, Karangbengang.
Yeah, and I read that you analyze three Karangbengang in Taro, and Tegalalang, and also Kaliki. Yeah. And there is a difference between three villages because in Taro, it still maintain the spiritual role,
Yes.
and in Kaliki, there is the influence from the tourism, but in Tegalalang has
More, yeah.
decreased the spiritual because there is a commercial and tourism activity. Okay. In your opinion, according to the principles of Trihita Karana, what should we do about the Karangbengang? It is still have it still must be ecological. I mean the environmental preserve, or allow the activities of social functions such as ecotourism, like the others participant before. Can you explain it?
Yes, thank you. So yeah, they have different character. So because Tegalalang village really the position is the center of the district. So many business held there, and then it uses for the Karangbengang area. So for the ecological, I think better control, because the Karangbengang exists with purpose to keep the good balance between build and unbuilt area is the main purpose first, and also is it have identity of the customary village, because Karangbengang have function as the separator between one customary village and with the others. So it's like identity. When you go to a settlement, you will find like this is like a transition zone before you enter the settlement. Yeah, you will feel like empty place, and then you saw the gate of Pamangkalan, and you know that this the landmark or the sign that you will enter the settlement. And also related with Trihita Karana, it means like a balance between the God, between the human, and also with the surrounding the area, the Palemahan. So it's the ideal condition. The balance must be still there. Yeah, but that was the problem between the awik or the people want, and then also the regulation from the government. Like I saw the picture on what happened in Bangkyang Sidem. The people really want to keep the Karangbengang, but because the ownership, next maybe almost the end, what the problem facing of the Karangbengang, yeah, like this, before, yeah, this. The Karangbengang is started here, and then until here. Maybe from Ibu Utari, you know about the Pura Gunung Lebah in Campuhan. Already it's not Ubud, it's Keliki. So the people want to keep this green, but the government make it into tourism area. So the people which have the online, because it's owned by the private, it's really difficult to the local, like the customary village, keep it into green area. Yeah, because it's like a chance to change your green area into business tourism business, and then but they also have tried to keep it still green here, because they said this is the really holy place for us. So this the sad part that the belief of the people is also the strength way to keeping the harmonies of the area, to keep the Karangbengang green. Just this is the conflict, like I said, between customary and formal special. Although the government try to also to preserve, but if what the people want and the government is not connected, yeah, maybe it will be disappeared. But it is a really good case here. I read in the other paper so about how belief can save the Karangbengang. Thank you.
So the Karangbengang is kind of entrance to the villages.
Yes, actually it's like the transition zone from the one customary village to another. So like in Taro, because they are still have complete Karangbengang, I have a study to mapping for for settlement there for customary village. In one map, you will show it's really a big Karangbengang. Maybe not many people, as my presentation, this term of Karangbengang also came with Bengang and also Petegalan. So in Taro, they known it as Tegalan. So it's make a clear difference which part you are settlement, which part you are work as on the rice field area that contain for Karangbengang.
Yeah, in fact, living heritage attracts many people to come and maybe can raise the economic growth. Yeah, how do you cope with that? Maybe it will need regulation to keep this become a green belt, or maybe some other change is allowed to take place in there, Karangbengang?
So actually the main principle of Karangbengang is unbuilt area. But now people try to connect it, the function and also the needs of the people. So this is example what happens in Taro Kelon. It make also one destination, a tourist attraction there, name is Mararati. They try to use the Karangbengang area. It's really near with the river, near the banks of rivers here. So they try to make like ecotourism.
Ecotourism.
Yeah, just they build the attraction with bamboo, with the non-permanent build, yeah. Well, and then they're using the holy spring also as was one of their attraction there. So they keep the rice field as also as their attraction, but they say that we want also get the advantage from the tourism, but I want to keep also the nature. Yeah, it is one example, good example, I think. But by minimalist the permanent building, yeah, it maybe can be win-win solution for everyone, for everybody. Yes.
Okay, thank you for the explanation.
Thank you.
I would like to invite Dr. Dia. Can you give some comments? And you.
Thank you, Dia and Dia, also
Yes,
from
two Dias.
Bali. Okay, this is complicated situation actually in Bali. We're facing a lot of problems about the green belt actually, but I'm proud that you bring up this to the international paper to introduce that Bali has this philosophy and the local wisdom. And actually the concept of green belt itself explicitly, it's already announced by our previous governor, Ida Bagus Mantra, since 78 until 88. And a lot of places, we call it green zone, also in Denpasar. So, and as this has become more problem, and also, you already mentioned a bit about awik-awik, so everybody here should know that awik-awik is a regulation from the Balinese, so we have the special regulation with the indigenous Balinese. And we are yet not a daerah istimewa, like in Yogyakarta. So the central government still ruling this regulation. So we cannot, sometimes that the central government and the local government has some, lack gap of the regulation. So that's why my suggestion also, because you didn't mention in the paper, that you should put the peraturan or undang-undang, the law and the regulation of the zonasi. Yeah, because it's already the zonasi regulations in it. You just need to put and mention it because you put it in the conclusion that raising public awareness of the significance of preserving Karangbengang's existence. And the regulation is in important rules for this. But we know actually will never happen also, but we are keep trying to do our best to preserve our nature. So I think Ibu Dia also is fighting for this Karangbengang, for us, for the Balinese people to keep the nature sustainable. So thank you, Ibu Dia, and it was a great presentation. Thank you.
Yeah. You have any response?
Yeah.
In short.
Yeah. So in the last slide, I saw the government try to put Karangbengang in their province regulation and also in district in district and district regulation. By put them in the zoning is for the zoning, but it's not clear yet because they recognize Karangbangang as open space, just open space, and then in the zoning regulation that I forgot what the term, but it's not clear. It's not clear transformed in the what kind of Karangbangang included. Is that a part of the holy temple or for the temple area or not, or because what is sempadan? Yeah, sempadan in English, like the sempadan is area that cannot build.
The spatial zone for the.
Yeah, near the river that you can build. Yeah, it's only that or something must be more clear to put Karangbangang in zoning regulation.
Can you give the microphone?
You just keep calling it the nature, but I really want to know, like, what is there?
What is nature?
Yeah, like what is, what is it? What is it?
And
like if you, are there trees, are there animals? Like if it's been there a long time and it's been looked after, are there species there that, that are special? Do people get food or medicine from there? Do they repair their homes from it? Like, it's not just static. Surely it's been growing and falling apart. Are there insect outbreaks, diseases? Is it cultivated in some way? Like are, waste plants thrown there and they grow, or, what's the history of the nature
Yes.
in relation to how this place has grown? Because it's very powerful in the way you present it, but in the way, but I'm not seeing it come through in your presentation, and I think that might help you negotiate the zoning, or just say, look, if the zoning is not working, it might provide an opening for answering the very good question you got first, is could it be cultivated differently? And that's not about adding a building. It's about understanding how it has been cultivated over time and how it might be cultivated differently to keep it.
To keep it.
Yeah, like somehow it's not just about it being there, but actually encouraging people to interact with it more so that it might stay or something and not be mapped as open or unbuilt. Yeah, it's a quick
Suggestion,
comment.
yeah.
No need to feedback.
Yeah.
Thank you
Okay,
for your
thank you
suggestion.
very much.
Thank you.